Hi, I'm Olivia,
Hi, I'm Maggie.
and this is Girls Talk Film. This is a podcast about movies, and basically every week we take 3 films that have a similar tone, theme, style, type of character, and we break them down and compare and contrast.
I don't know if you can tell what this week's episode is.
I wonder.
I don't think we're giving it away at all. So this week is witches, obviously.
Crazy. I thought it was ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a little Halloween October special. We covered vampires on our last episode, and now we're doing witches.
By the way, happy Halloween. This episode is going to come out like right before Halloween. So happy Halloween to
Happy Halloween.
I was about to be like all who celebrate like it's a religious holiday. Honestly, Halloween is my religious holiday. I go so hard for Halloween.
Same. I take Halloween very seriously.
It's just so fun, like dressing up and like indulging in kind of like the macabre and like you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's the one time that it's socially acceptable to like be fun. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the year, everyone just wants to be all serious and normal, and it's boring.
I'm curious, do you have like a favorite like last week talked about like favorite vampires in media. Do you have like a favorite witch in media?
That's an interesting question because I feel like there are so many characters that can maybe be classified as witches. Like I love the book Circe by Madeline Miller, and she's a witch.
Yeah.
I also have to give credit where it's due to American Horror Story Coven for raising me.
You and like when that came out, you and Tumblr were locked in.
You don't even know, Maggie. I was reblogging the GIFs like no one's business.
Like you were getting paid.
I dressed up as a character from American Horror Story Coven for Halloween for like 2 Halloweens in a row. It was also because I didn't have the time to buy another costume the second year.
I was going to say you're just basically wearing your everyday clothes.
What about you? Do you have any favorite witch media?
Okay. So I'm like you. I'm like super into witches. This is like kind of embarrassing, but real ones know. When I was little, I was obsessed with this like straight to DVD VHS movie, and it was Casper the Friendly Ghost
With Christina Ricci?
No, I love that movie. I do love that movie. Like that aside, but because we're talking about witches, there was like a really crappy like sequel.
Okay.
And it was Casper and Wendy, and Hilary Duff played this little witch named Wendy, and she wore this like really like cute little like red like onesie almost. Like that was her outfit, and I was obsessed with it. Like I don't know why, but that was like very active in my childhood.
That's so
And
funny.
so like when I think of witches, I automatically think of her, but I also love like a good non-traditional witch.
Witches were really the first kind of evil archetype for women. So the possibilities of storytelling with witches are endless, and the possibilities of telling a story that I will likely enjoy, because I love stories about evil women and bad women, is pretty high.
It's funny, doing this episode, I realized how much witch media there is.
There's a decent
There
amount.
are so many movies about witches.
Literally.
And I kind of like all of them in their own ways for like certain reasons. Don't get me wrong, some are very low on my list, but one thing I really like about them is the witchiness of it all.
That's so real. And also, for anyone who listened to last week's episode, we know we said we would be doing the Witches of Eastwick.
We lied.
We didn't realize kind of that a witch movie had come out this year. So we figured, why not just cover the most recent popular depiction of a witch? And we've swapped that one out for weapons.
Yeah, so instead of the Witches of Eastwick, we are going to be talking about weapons today.
That is correct. So even before the more popular depiction of witches, the more modern depiction of witches came around, there were actually witch-like figures that appeared in early mythologies. The Greeks had a goddess of witchcraft, Hecate, and we know that there are myths about enchantresses like Medea. And in those times, the idea of magic and the idea of healing were very intertwined. So witches were seen as wise women or healers. On the other hand, early Christian ideology framed witchcraft as a threat to the divine order. In medieval Europe, healers and midwives continued local pagan traditions, even though the church condemned them as heretics or devil worshippers, particularly as Christianity expanded throughout Europe. In the 15th century, this horrible guy named Heinrich Kramer wrote the Malleus Maleficum. Sorry, I'm not going to try again. Which he wrote a book.
He wrote something.
He wrote a book with a complicated name, which really formalized the concept of the witch as we know it today. Mm-hmm. And he described the witch as a female servant of the devil, which justified mass persecution. So this guy really is the reason that witch hunts were a thing. In the 17th and 18th centuries, tens of thousands of people, most of whom were women, were executed across Europe and colonial America under suspicion of practicing witchcraft. Torture, confessions, and hysteria fueled the witch hunt. And obviously, as we know today, if someone's tortured until they give you the answer you want to hear, they'll give you the answer you want to hear.
Right. It's not getting the truth out of them. It's just them trying to figure out any way to stop what's happening.
Exactly. It is really important to note that the witch hunts really disproportionately targeted women, and especially poor and unmarried women.
Yes.
And then by the 18th and 19th centuries, Enlightenment rationalism and technological advancements stifled belief in witchcraft, but the witch figure continued to live on in folklore and literature. And some of the more common witch tropes are that the witch often exists on the margins of society, whether by choice or by force. If she does have a social circle, it is primarily made up of other women, her coven, as we would call it. A witch might have powers like the ability to fly, cast spells, or shapeshift, or maybe a witch can transform people. A witch is also typically shown to be ugly and old, and her ugliness is presented as a reflection of her inner nature. So because she's ugly on the inside, she's ugly on the outside. Mm-hmm. However, witches are often really vain, which is interesting, sort of a bit of an obvious metaphor for unmarried older women who are seen to like constantly be striving towards youth is a very witchy sort of thing.
It's funny. Sorry to interrupt you, but one thing I just remembered is another very popular witch that we've covered on this channel is the Witch of the Waste from House Moving Castle, who like is very vain and is kind of like, the joke is that she's not exactly this very beautiful woman, yet she acts very like haughty and high and mighty.
Yeah. So I mean, the concept of the witch was literally created to, shame and destroy women who didn't really fit into society's conventions.
Yeah.
So, of course, she's shown to be old and ugly.
It's funny. I really, really love witch media, witch stories, witch history, and I think a big part of it, and I wonder if you feel the same way, is because I feel like, especially in the 21st century or a little even, the 21st century, I feel like it's taken on a very feminist approach.
Extremely.
And I think that's why I gravitate towards it, because I'm such a strong feminist. I think I just immediately kind of go towards, and especially women, because like you said, like it's used to target poor women, uneducated women, women's sexuality, women's liberation.
Mainly. And most witch, at least back in the day, like back in Puritan times, all of like witch practices were very concerned with women's sexuality. And in modern day, the figure of the witch has really been reclaimed as a feminist figure.
Don't get me wrong. I think there's still really good stories that kind of follow that traditional evil monster witch.
Agreed.
And we'll see a lot of that in, I think the films that we've picked today have a really diverse scope of the more modern, because all of their movies were made post 2010, idea of a witch.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah. So our first movie kind of, as Olivia said, follows a more traditional kind of the Puritan fear of the witch.
Yes. I mean, that's what it explores almost exactly.
Yeah.
So our first movie that we're going to be talking about is The Witch, written and directed by Robert Eggers. It's a psychological horror movie that came out in 2015.
Why is Robert Eggers like our new goat of this channel?
I'm okay. He's made 4 films. We've now covered 3 of them, if we're counting this.
Olivia, you just took the words out of my mouth. I was literally like, the man must have made at least, at most 5 movies, and I know we've covered 3.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't know exactly how many.
Okay, Listen, I'm not opposed to it. I think
no.
Robert Eggers is a great director. He's given a lot to this channel. I would say The Witch and the Lighthouse are like tied for my favorite Robert Eggers film.
It's funny because Nosferatu is still my favorite.
Yeah.
But watching it again, I watched it twice, this movie. And the first time I watched it, no. Second time I watched it, I actually found a lot to appreciate about it. So it jumped up a lot.
Oh, I'm so glad because I love this film so much and genuinely would have been really disappointed if you didn't like it. So I'm happy that you enjoyed it on a second watch.
So the movie premiered at the 2015 Sundance Film Festival, and it was picked up for distribution by A24. It received a wide theatrical release in February of 2016, and it grossed $40 million worldwide against a $4 million budget? I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's they're filming in like this really remote area.
It's like a one location film, really.
But also it's so historically accurate. Like I'm even building that house and that settlement and everything like that. Wow.
No,
okay.
I know. I found it when I saw that it was made for only $4 million. I found that so inspiring.
Yes.
Just because it's not only is it just a great film, it's such a beautiful film.
Yeah.
The cinematography, the music, the performances, like everything works. And it does just go to show you don't need $100 million to make a really good film.
Especially a horror film. I feel like people today kind of like to cop out like, oh, we didn't have a big budget. And so like they relied too much on
Jump scares.
I was going to say what I consider to be really cheap tricks in horror movies or like excessive gore and stuff like that. And it's like, you really don't need that. Like, in my opinion, some of the most terrifying horror movies I've watched use like one location, very small budget, and like it works so well.
So The Witch is really concerned with the fears and the anxieties of early modern Puritans in the New World, and it explores these themes through the tradition of early modern American folklore. The full title of the film is actually The Witch, a New England Folktale, and it feels like a folktale.
It does. It feels like a little like creepy bedtime story that Puritans used to tell their children before going to church.
100%. So the film takes place in the 1630s. We open in the meeting hall of a colonial New England settlement. William, who's played by Ralph Ineson, is the patriarch of a Puritan family, and we meet him when he's standing before a crowd of elders who are accusing him of holding beliefs that go against the church. And we don't really get that he's rejecting the church. It's more just like that some of his beliefs conflict with theirs. But he's a deeply religious man.
Yes.
William refuses to repent, so the elders banish him and his family from the settlement. And we see this scene primarily through the perspective of William's eldest daughter, Thomasin, who is played by Anya Taylor-Joy in her first film role.
Wait, really?
This was her first role ever.
Sorry, I'm like trying to do the math because I'm like, I thought she did the M. Night Shyamalan movie
This was
before.
after that.
That's crazy.
I
Wow. For
know.
a first film role, it's a crazy performance.
I know. And she was like 18.
Honestly, like that just shows she's such a star. Like I really love Anya Taylor-Joy and I know you do too.
Love her.
Yeah.
No, she's a star.
She locked in and she was like, yeah, no, I'm A-list from the beginning.
Right. And Thomasin is our heroine.
Yes. So we see William, his wife Catherine, who's played by Kate Dickie, Thomasin, and her three siblings, who are preteen Caleb and the young twins Mercy and Jonas. They all leave through the settlement's gates. They travel by wagon until they find a clearing on the edge of a dark forest. William decides that they will kind of like build a new life here and settle down. And through a brief montage, we see time passing. They build a home, and Catherine gives birth to their fifth child, and he is a little boy named Samuel.
Yes. And right off the bat, the woods are creepy.
Yeah.
They're like surrounded on all sides. They settle in this clearing. They're surrounded on all sides by these dense, dark woods that are ominous.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's not even super claustrophobic,
No.
the woods around them. It's actually like their clearing is very large. It's more so just kind of like
The mystery of what's in them.
yes, I love that you said that because that is always something that I love. Okay, little rant. It's a little like underrated in my opinion. Like something like the Blair Witch Project, where it's like the witch itself in that movie doesn't scare me. It's the woods.
Yes.
It's this idea of like they're endless and what is in them, and almost like time doesn't exist in there.
Yes. I'm so with you on that. The woods are terrifying.
Yeah. And as someone who lives very close to the woods, I can confirm that they are terrifying.
And Robert Eggers really does the most to make them so scary here.
Yeah.
Like no one goes into the woods in this film and comes back out like normal.
Yeah.
Also, right away, fuck this guy. Like, fuck William. He's the worst ever. We go on to see he has like no survival skills, and he's so prideful that he's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, you don't want us here. I'm not going to repent. Like, we can just go live in the woods. And it's like, you know nothing about living in the woods. And we see that he knows nothing about living in the woods. And so he's just doomed his whole family, essentially, because he's too arrogant to just be like, yeah, you know what? I repent so that me and my family can stay in this settlement.
Right. It's like, buddy, your wife is pregnant. Like,
Right?
she will die. Like, people are dying at age 15 anyways.
Literally.
Like, you are in Puritan times, my guy. Just like, you know, tuck your tail between your legs and just say sorry.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think this movie has a lot to say about William and kind of like the role of men
Yes.
during this time and just kind of
Agreed.
like in general.
Still.
Yeah, to this day. So one day while Thomason is watching him, the baby Samuel just mysteriously disappears. This is actually probably my favorite scene
This
in the
is
movie.
one of truly the eeriest scenes I've ever seen in any movie.
It's okay. One thing that I don't love about this
eerie.
movie is like I don't think it's necessarily super scary. I think it's very like creepy and atmospheric.
Agreed.
But this scene, like just the game of peekaboo, whew, I'm like getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
So Thomason loses Samuel while she's playing peekaboo with him. So, and you see, you know, you close your eyes, then you go peekaboo, and then there's a shot looking up at her playing it. And then every time she opens her eyes, we cut to the baby who's laying on the ground underneath her. And the third time she does peekaboo, he's just gone.
And she is right over him. Like
Yeah.
she's hovering over him. So it's like, oh, who took him?
And then she like looks up and it's the wood, and you just see like a bit of grass just like rustle, like someone just walked by.
It is so great.
And then just like into the woods. It's terrifying.
yeah. So the baby disappears. It's quickly revealed that he was abducted and murdered by a witch living in the forest. And we are shown that she uses the baby's blood to make a flying ointment.
Yeah, I actually really like that we kind of right off the bat know that there is a witch. The way that the film plays out, there's a lot of interpersonal psychological drama about like who is at fault for what.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that we get told right away, like there actually is a witch. So Catherine, the mother, is obviously devastated by the loss of her newborn, and she just starts spending her days inside, crying and praying, mourning. And we discover that William secretly traded Catherine's prized possession, which is a silver cup that she inherited, in exchange for hunting supplies because his crops are failing. At dinner one night, Catherine blames Thomason for stealing the cup, and it's clear that Catherine also faults her for Samuel's disappearance because he did disappear while she was watching him.
I was going to say, like, you know, it's kind of...
It's a founded...
Right.
It's
like,
a founded
it's
thing.
not without reason.
Yeah.
So we also see that Mercy and Jonas, who are the two little twins, have become obsessed with the family's billy goat. They play with him and they claim that he can speak to them.
So one morning, Thomason and Caleb sneak into the forest to check one of the traps that they've set. And again, the family is really not doing well.
They're struggling.
They're like, their crops are failing. They can't catch any animals. Like because the dad is terrible at hunting, because again, no survival skills, just brought his family into the middle of nowhere
And keep in mind,
can't keep them alive.
like, this is Puritan times, so like Thomasin and Catherine like don't know how to provide for the family.
Yeah, they
they
don't do anything really because they're not really allowed to.
Right.
So Thomasin and Caleb go into the woods to check one of the traps that William had set, and their dog Fowler sees a hare and starts chasing it, which frightens the horse and then knocks Thomasin to the ground. So looking for Fowler, Caleb gets lost in the woods. So Thomasin is knocked out, Caleb's looking for the dog. And as he delves further into the woods, he comes upon a hovel from which a beautiful woman emerges and kisses him. And as she kisses him, her hand comes up like around his head.
Yeah.
And we see it's like the hand of an old woman.
Yeah, it's like the base of his neck.
Yeah.
Which
is a great shot.
Yeah.
And also it's, again, very traditional. The witch can glamour herself to be beautiful, but her real form is ugly old woman.
And there's a lot with well, not a lot, but there's a little bit of, not like a side plot with Caleb's character, and kind of like he's a young boy and he's kind of like going into adolescence.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a thing where like you can only guess it's like his sexual
It's implied
nature. Yeah. So it's a very clear like almost like a siren's call for him.
Yes.
So after waking up after falling off the horse, Thomasin finds her way home, where Catherine berates her for taking Caleb into the woods and losing him because he is MIA.
Yeah, and this is now the second child that has
she's
gone
lost.
mysteriously missing on Thomasin's watch.
Yeah. That night, however, Caleb does return to the farm. He's naked and he is very mysteriously sick. Catherine believes that Caleb has fallen victim to witchcraft, which, correct.
She's not wrong.
Yeah. And the next day, Caleb has very violent convulsions and vomits up a whole apple. Oh, this scene was
eerie.
Yeah. It was also just
Eerie.
like rough to watch.
Yeah. Great acting by the kid.
By the
in
child.
That scene.
Yeah.
Honestly, all around really good
Everyone's
acting by
really
the kids.
solid.
And apparently, just a little fun fact, Robert Eggers said that Ralph Ineson, who plays the father, really helped with the kids in the scenes. Robert Eggers had never worked with kids before, and Ralph Ineson apparently like teaches theater to kids when he's not working, and really apparently with the kid who played Caleb was like really instrumental in like getting that performance out of him.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. So Caleb is sick, seizing, and then he proclaims his love for Christ before dying peacefully.
Yeah, it's this whole sequence with Caleb being sick is like pretty disturbing.
Yeah, the whole movie's disturbing, but I think this is really where the tone shifts from like creepy, eerie, like little shots here and there to like almost like body horror in a way.
Bordering.
Yeah.
Definitely. The twins blame Thomasin and accuse her of practicing witchcraft. She had also kind of jokingly said to them earlier in the film that she was a witch, and they're now saying like, she's told us she was a witch. Like, we know she's a witch.
Well, it's more so like they were she was trying to scare them.
Yeah.
She was playing with them as like a big sister.
Exactly.
Yeah, but again, like breathe wrong and you're accused of being a witch here.
Exactly. And then she, in turn, accuses the two of them of witchcraft, saying that their like conversations with Black Phillip are super creepy. And they are.
No, they are.
She's like, I'm a witch. You're the one who talks to a goat.
Right.
Like,
You're the one who sings songs that he taught you.
right. And William is just, his son has just died and now all his kids are fighting and he's just like fed up and he locks them all in the goat house for the night. Things turn.
Oh, things have been turning. This is where shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the night, the twins and Thomasin wake up to find the witch, who is appeared to be an old woman, and she is drinking the blood of a nanny goat. Meanwhile, in the house, Catherine hallucinates that Caleb and Samuel, the baby, have both returned. And oh God, I just remembered what this visual is like, and it hurts me. It physically hurts me.
It's horrible to watch, but it's also like so good.
So Catherine visualizes nursing Samuel, but in reality, she has exposed her breast to a raven, which picks at her chest. Ow.
At dawn, William wakes to find the goat stable destroyed. All of the goats are dead, the twins are missing, and Thomasin is asleep, covered in blood.
I mean, girl cannot stop putting herself in like a suggestive situation.
No, and also like she's fully done nothing to deserve all of this.
Right.
Like she's truly done nothing wrong.
She's a victim.
Entirely. And as she wakes up, Black Phillip runs at William and gores him with his horns, which this was very unexpected.
Yeah.
Catherine, who is really like losing her grip on sanity, sees her husband get murdered by a goat and tries to strangle Thomasin. She believes Thomasin is a witch and that Thomasin has somehow brought all of this on the family. Mm-hmm. Thomasin is forced to kill her mother in self-defense.
Yeah.
Which was sad.
I mean, poor girl. Like,
Literally.
she literally is just trying to like live this life in solitude, basically, with her family. And instead she is blamed for everything and then all alone. Mm-hmm. So she's now alone. Thomasin enters the goat house and urges Black Phillip to speak to her. Which, ooh, here it comes.
I loved this. I absolutely loved this.
I did too. So, spoiler alert, Thomasin asks Black Phillip to speak to her. The goat responds in a human voice, and he asks her if she wants to live deliciously. I love the way he whispers this.
Yes. Also, the voice is like this throaty, like close to the mic whisper. Like
it's ASMR.
It is. I got
Puritan
tingles. I got
ASMR.
tingles during this scene. He asks her also, he goes, do you like the taste of butter? Which is Puritans weren't allowed to eat butter.
Yeah, it's clearly like that.
He's seducing her.
Yeah.
He's the devil.
Yeah. So she accepts his offer and he tells her to remove her clothes and sign her name in his book.
Yes, which is, again, this was early witch mythology. The thought was that witches bound themselves to the devil by signing their name in his book.
That's, I mean, if you've read The Crucible, that's a big thing. I saw her name, I saw Goody Proctor in the book.
Yes.
Like,
so we then watch Thomasin walk into the forest nude, and she comes upon a bonfire around which a coven of witches are having their Sabbath. And as the witches begin to levitate into the air, Thomasin joins them laughing, and they all ascend above the trees.
it's a really great finishing visual.
It's awesome. Love the ending.
Yeah, the cinematography is just really pretty throughout this entire film.
It's gorgeous. And again, just you do not need a big budget to make a beautiful film. Really just goes to show, because this film is gorgeous.
It's so perfect. Like, again, it's pretty, but it's haunting.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And the color palette is all these like grays and like dark greens and really stormy blues and whites. Like, it's very moody. So really do have to give Eggers that. I mean, his aptitude with cinematography is really only improved and improved. Like, as his career has gone on, like, he's never really made a bad looking film. All of his films are exceptionally
visually
beautiful.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Something I find interesting about the ending, though, is I feel like it's, whenever I've talked about this movie, the ending is often kind of seen as like a liberation, like that she's now, like, she's a witch now, she's liberated. When I first saw the movie and in my continued watches, Black Phillip, the devil, literally like wove himself into the family to break them all apart,
Right.
and leave Thomasin alone. She has no other choice but to sign the book. Like, where's she gonna go?
Right. She'll die. Like,
Everyone's dead. Like,
Yeah.
her entire family's dead. She can't live out in the middle of nowhere alone. Like, I don't know. I think that he's trying to seduce her a little bit in that scene with, oh, you can see the world and you can live deliciously.
Yes.
But it's also like she literally doesn't have a choice.
yeah, I've always kind of taken it as like, I know that's not literally what it is, but I've always kind of seen it as like him kind of doing this like almost trance-like thing.
Yeah.
So I in my opinion, it's a little bit of both. Like, yes, he's manipulating her, like, oh, you know, I can promise you all these things, and he's seducing her, but also she kind of has no other choice. It's like a 50-50. But you're so right. It's kind of like, it's not like she was like, oh, can't wait. Like, it's like, yeah. Otherwise her crops are dead. All of her animals are dead. She literally would die in a day and a half.
Exactly. And like, I don't really know why this is framed as like a good for her, like she becomes a witch and it's empowering at the end kind of movie. It's like, her entire life is destroyed.
Yeah.
Her family's dead, and they died like hating her.
Yeah. They died blaming her for
Fully.
everything.
So I guess I didn't. I like that in the end she embraces it, and I enjoyed that visual, and I enjoyed what it meant for the story for her to embrace it. But at the end of the day, like, she's still a victim.
No, totally. It's not exactly a happy ending that some people like to paint it as.
And I feel like it's constantly painted as that. I would argue that there are definitely feminist themes explored in this movie. The fact that Thomasin is, you know, a teenage girl, like, she's flowering into a woman, and then of course her sort of budding adulthood is really associated with like, oh, she's probably evil.
Yeah, I also think William's role as the father and his relationship with Thomasin is, you know,
100%. Like, he dooms his family.
Yeah.
He essentially dooms his family and then blames it on Thomasin.
Yeah.
Which is like, do you not understand how so much of this is entirely your fault?
Yeah, I mean, yes, you know, these children are going missing on Thomasin's watch, but like, buddy, you literally brought your family to the witch's doorstep.
Like, guess where no children would have gone missing in the settlement?
Right, exactly. If you had just said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you're too prideful, which, like, obviously, like, blind faith and superstition are very heavily explored in this movie, and also were like the impetus behind the Salem witch trials and other like witch hunts in history. But I did kind of enjoy that this is such a traditional depiction of witches, and you can't not mention how apparently the dialogue is, it's written in Old English. It is entirely historically accurate. They speak the way that these people would have spoken. I liked it.
I know. I actually, that's like a fault I have with the movie. Okay, it's not a fault. Let me clarify. I thought it
was cool.
I think it's very impressive. I think it's very cool. I really respect the actors for being, it's like when actors can really easily like emote Shakespeare. Like,
and I will say, this script is not nearly as complex as like Shakespeare's verse. Like, I feel
obviously
like it would be doable for most actors.
Yes, but I you know, credit to the actors, credit to Robert Eggers,
definitely.
who is like always really into historical accuracy. There were, again, this is more a fault of mine than it is the movies, but I felt like there were some scenes where I was like, I gotta pause and rewind and put on subtitles. Like, I felt like I was watching a movie that I needed Google Translate for, just because it's so like Old English.
Yeah.
Like, there are some scenes where it's, you know, an ensemble scene and they're just having conversation, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck are they saying?
That is entirely fair. I personally really enjoyed it. If you're into stuff like that, and if you like films that take historical accuracy incredibly seriously, check this one out.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first time I watched this movie, I watched it with my family. And my family loves horror. Like, my mom, my sister, and myself specifically love horror movies. So we rented this movie, I think, on Redbox.
Oh my God.
When Redbox is still a thing.
Back in the day.
Maybe. Or like, I don't know, early Netflix. And we were like, hell yeah, which movie? Here we go. And then it was so not what we thought it would be.
It's a slow burn, like, psychological horror.
Yeah, it is an eerie, creepy, atmospheric movie. So we were like, that sucked. And I really didn't like it. But watching it again for the podcast, and obviously this is like years later, post me studying film and stuff like that, and having more of an appreciation for movies like this, I really found myself enjoying it. I still don't really find it scary. But personally, because I think
fair.
I'm just so,
You're desensitized.
Yeah, I've seen so many horror movies that like really nothing scares me unless it's like really personal to me. So like movies that scare me now aren't even movies that are like objectively scary. They're like, what is my personal biggest fear?
Yeah.
And if it's explored in that. And obviously I don't live in Puritan times, and I'm not accused of being a witch, and I'm not living in the woods. Okay, I do kind of live in the woods, but
I literally do.
Yeah, so maybe I should be a little bit more scared of this movie. But personally, I don't find it scary. I do find it really well made, and I do think it does a really good job creating the tone that it wants to.
I totally agree with you. I think the tone and the atmosphere are really the strongest points of the film. I found it disturbing. I found it eerie. Yeah, I wouldn't. Am I jumping out of my seat scared?
No, there's no jump scares really.
No, but I definitely, you turn it off and it's kind of like,
It's
ooh.
disturbing.
The atmosphere and the eeriness and the kind of edge of your seatness of it all stayed with me a little bit. I mean, I really love this film. This is my like preferred kind of horror, I guess. I love an atmosphere and I love eeriness and darkness, but I don't necessarily walk into films hoping to be like jumping or scared. This is actually like kind of my ideal idea of a horror movie. So yeah, for me personally, this film is a 9 out of 10. It is very close to perfect for me. Again, it's a small film and it's a small scale film that I just happen to really enjoy. I really like this movie.
I think I'm going to give it a 6.5 only because, again, with horror, I'm very judgy when things don't scare me. But I mean, from my first watch, I would have probably rated it like closer to a 4.
Are we ready to move on to our second movie, which is talking about big tonal shift.
I don't know if I'm ready to talk about this. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate because people
love this movie.
Yeah,
they really do.
So,
and I kind of get it.
I don't. I guess I get it, but the reviews that I was reading, from the reviews I saw, I don't. So our next movie came out in 2016 and it is called The Love Witch. It is classified as a horror comedy. And it was directed and written by Anna Biller, who, I mean, this was really her passion project.
Yes. Not only was she the writer-director, she was also the composer, the set designer, the costume designer, and just overall, I think she handled props as well.
Yeah, this is her movie.
This was a passion project of hers. It premiered at the 2016 International Film Festival Rotterdam and received a limited theatrical release in the US in November 2016. It was distributed by Oscilloscope. And the film is completely stylized to resemble a Technicolor 1960s film. To a T. Like, it feels like it was made in the 1960s.
Yes, until you look in the background and you see the 2012 Toyota behind.
Yeah, because it's meant to take place in the modern day, but like the look of the film.
Oh, I thought it was trying to be like a period piece.
No, it's meant to take place in the modern day.
Oh.
It just is styled to resemble, as a film, it's styled to resemble.
That's really interesting. Well, okay, that actually kind of helps me a lot because there is one part where one of the main characters pulls out a phone and I was like, that wasn't in 1960. So, okay, I have to like erase a good portion of my notes now.
So Anna Biller collaborated really closely with her cinematographer, M. David Mullen, to mimic the hard lighting style of classic Hollywood films, and they shot the film on 35 millimeter.
I mean, I think the film's look is like one of the selling points, and I also think it's one of the strongest things out of the movie.
By far.
Like, I think they really do a great job emulating this, like, Technicolor 1960s Hollywood look. And I think it's really fun and I think it's very visually like competent.
Agreed. And kind of important to note about Anna Biller before we really get into the film that she is a feminist and she has stated that her films are inspired by feminist theory. So she is an explicitly feminist filmmaker. This is a feminist film. She said to Metrograph, "I always start with images. With The Love Witch, I started with vintage 1960s pulp covers featuring sexy witches. So my story became about what's implied on those covers, that women are evil seductresses who you hate, but you also desire. That's such a fraught and interesting subject to try to subvert. So I take the sexy witch on the cover and I make it from her point of view so that she's a subject and not an object." So that was her intention with the film.
I have a lot to say about intention and execution in film, and I'm going to save it till the end. But I think it's very clear that Anna Biller in this movie, and she's made very scarce movies. Like, she's a very indie filmmaker. She's a clear lover of women.
Yes.
So I don't want to take that away from her. She clearly respects women. This movie's not objectifying, and I think it's very clever in the way that it shows female sexuality.
Agreed, because it shows it in a way that's very appealing to women.
Yeah.
So the film opens with an image of a red Mustang convertible gliding down a California highway. Behind the wheel is our protagonist, Elaine, and she's played by Samantha Robinson.
Through voiceover, Elaine explains that she is moving to a new town to start a new life. She tells us that she had a nervous breakdown after her husband left her and implies that the relationship was abusive, but that she has found her true purpose in life through witchcraft since then.
Yes, and she's relocating to Arcata, California, which is a town that tolerates witches. So in the universe of this film, witches like are a thing.
Yeah.
But again, the witchcraft in this film is Wicca.
Yes, it's very what we know to be witchcraft today. It's probably what your sorority sisters like to do in their dorm rooms.
Exactly. It's not necessarily magic. It's very plant-based.
Yes. It's crystals and hanging up herbs in the window.
Yeah. So Elaine rents an apartment in a building maintained by Trish Manning, who's played by Laura Waddle, and she's an interior decorator. Trish invites her to tea, and they're surprised by a visit from Trish's husband, Richard, who becomes besotted with Elaine upon meeting her, like every man does. Every man who sees Elaine immediately becomes obsessed with her.
I mean, she is stunning. Samantha Robinson is a gorgeous woman.
Absolutely gorgeous. I do also love what this film has to say about beauty and about how beauty is a thing that is curated, which is that's like kind of an ongoing thing throughout the film, is the curation of beauty and the curation of femininity, and how this character, Elaine, finds power through curating herself and her appearance.
So we learn through voiceover again from Elaine that all Elaine wants is to find a man who loves her, and she believes that the way to do this is by catering to their every desire.
Yeah, the film is really a satire on the ways that women are indoctrinated to feel like they always have to cater to men. Biller said to Rolling Stone that it's a male fantasy myth that a woman who presents herself sexually is always empowered. There are layers of conformism, anger, and self-hate in there too. The Love Witch is a female fantasy myth, considering the recent idea in liberal feminism that women are always empowered in sex work. I find that interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm skeptical. And again, I'll save it till the end because I find in theory, I really like that. Mm-hmm. I just think a lot falls really flat in this movie.
I would agree with you for the most part. Mm-hmm. Something I did like about the film was to make the character of Elaine someone who is not only appears as a male fantasy, like she's this beautiful sexual woman.
Her body is tea also.
Tea.
I mean, like crazy.
Like crazy.
Yeah. And it's very purposeful. Like she's literally designed herself to become that way.
Exactly. Her curation of self is often like really visually associated with her witchcraft too, which is interesting. So there's also a little layer of there's witchcraft that goes into her beauty and her appeal.
Exactly. So after Elaine performs a ritual to attract a new lover, a local professor named Wayne accepts her offer to cook him dinner at his cabin. She has him drink a concoction of hallucinogenics, and they have sex afterwards. And after they have sex, he becomes emotional and delirious, which kind of repulses Elaine.
This was funny.
I thought this was funny too. It was one of those things where at first I was like, wait, should I be laughing? Like there's a lot of moments in this movie where I was giggling and I was like, I can't tell if I'm supposed to be because I was partially giggling at the performances, but we'll go into it later, but the performances are
rough.
Rough? Girl, they're awful. Let's be real.
My friend wrote a Letterboxd review. I think she gave the movie like 1 or 2 stars, and her review just said, "Were there no actors available?" And yeah. So I found this scene funny, which I'm sure I was supposed to, but I was half laughing at like the situation and half laughing at like the just really cheesy acting. True. I mean, with how heavily stylized the film is, I would assume that the more wooden performances are kind of curated that way to emphasize the oldness of the film and to emulate performances from like the 50s and 60s. But I just think for most of the actors in the film, it just reads as bad. I believe that the intention was camp, but it, especially with the performances, like they do not come off well.
It's not my version of camp. I'll save it till the end. So the next morning, Elaine wakes to discover that Wayne has died, and she buries him in the backyard along with a bottle of her urine and a used tampon. I watched this movie with my mom, and my mom was killing me. She was like, could she leave any more DNA evidence at the crime scene? Like, she leaves her clothes, her hair's all over the place, the bloody tampon she uses.
She buries him with it.
Yeah.
So it's like me. Like.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, she couldn't be more obvious with I committed murder.
No, 100%. Oh, and also the hallucinogenic potion that she gave him is implied to be a love potion that she's been working on, and who it unfortunately unsuccessfully, because it's like killing her victims.
Yeah, it's kind of almost, from what I took it to be, it's like it's too much for the men to bear, and so it subsequently kills them.
Which I do have something to say about that.
I do too.
When Trish is out of town, Elaine seduces her husband, Richard. They have sex, but Elaine demands they stop seeing each other when Richard becomes clingy. So it's another situation of when the man kind of gets with her and gets too emotional and too in love, she's like, actually, no.
So meanwhile, Wayne is reported missing, and Officer Griff Meadows and his partner Steve, who are played respectively by, is it Gian? Gian Keys, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, and Randy Evans. They discover Wayne's body at his cabin along with the bottle of urine that Elaine left, and obviously that leads them to Elaine. And Griff invites Elaine to join him horseback riding, and they come across a midsummer solstice festival held by the leaders of Elaine's coven. They propose a mock wedding, and they perform a hand fasting ceremony, and Elaine then realizes that she is in love with Griff, though he does not reciprocate her feelings. This scene actually did really make me laugh because she is like, her narration comes up a lot in the movie, and she's like, wow, I'm so in love, and I actually really do have feelings. And it cuts to his narration. He's like, being in love sucks. Like, it did kind of make me laugh.
I laughed at that part too. Meanwhile, Trish discovers that her husband, Richard, who Elaine slept with, has killed himself.
Yeah.
Trish tells Elaine that she suspects Richard was having an affair and that his lover must have driven him to suicide. Trish also tries on Elaine's ring and forgets to give it back before leaving. Later, she brings it to Elaine's apartment to give it back to her and discovers a shrine that Elaine has made dedicated to her deceased lovers. So all the men who couldn't handle her potion and who have died. Elaine returns and Trish attacks her, but she eventually leaves and swears that Elaine will burn for what she's done.
I found this scene to be... I find this movie very slow. I'm sorry.
It was slow.
And I found this scene to be one of my favorites because I was like, oh, yes, finally, like something's happening. And I do enjoy the scene where Trish goes to Elaine's apartment and then she like kind of starts dressing as Elaine.
Yeah.
Again, kind of playing into that curation of self and kind of how you present yourself. And there's a little bit of a thing with Trish and kind of how she's clearly supposed to be more homely than Elaine, who is so this like, I hate to use the word, but like sex bomb.
Exactly. But at the same time, Trish is also the more kind of like self-assured and normal and like successful of the two.
No, totally.
Elaine's entire kind of being just revolves around being attractive and attracting a man.
So at the police station, Griff, also, I love how Griff goes from patrol cop to sergeant in like 2 days.
So fast.
I was like, he has his own office. Is he the chief of police? It was just a funny detail. So Griff tells Steve that their boss has ordered them to drop the case, the murder case of Wayne, and Elaine is the suspect. Steve reveals that he has discovered that Elaine's late husband, Jerry, also died of an overdose despite having no prior history of drug use. And he then accuses Griff of letting his feelings for Elaine cloud his judgment. Griff then throws the fakest punch I've ever seen.
Yeah.
My mom and I had to rewind it like 3 times because it was so funny. Also,
But again, that one I'm like, okay, that was definitely on purpose to look fake. Like, because that's what punching in like those old movies looks like. Like, it just is what it looks like.
Okay, that might have been on purpose, but him nearly walking into the door afterwards was 100% odd. I don't know if you caught that.
I did. I caught that. I literally so funny.
It's
I
so
have
funny.
it in my notes,
He
actually.
turns and he nearly hits the corner of the door.
Elaine then meets Griff at a cabaret show, and she claims that she simply buried Wayne in his backyard in accordance with her religious customs.
Duh.
Of course.
Yeah.
Overhearing the exchange, other patrons at the bar start yelling at Elaine, and they basically assault her, chanting "Burn the witch," and Griff fights them off while they run away.
Once they escape, they're at the apartment, and Elaine presents Griff with a potion. He refuses to take it, and Elaine sees a vision of her past victims professing their love. She grabs a ceremonial knife and then stabs Griff multiple times. I actually wasn't expecting that.
Me neither.
Yeah. With the knife clutched to her chest, Elaine smiles, imagining the mock wedding that we saw earlier. And in this version, Griff declares his love and proposes to Elaine before leading her away on a unicorn. And then that is the end of the movie.
Yeah. So what are your major takeaways from this?
Honestly, I'm very disappointed. And I hate that I'm disappointed because, again, I love feminist media. I love witch media. I love female directors. And I really went into this movie like ready to love it. I'd seen like images from it. I'd seen little like screen grabs. I'd maybe seen a clip or two and I was like, yes, this is my vibe. And I think even like reading the summary, I like it so much more when we're talking about it. And when you're like on paper, I think this movie is great. I just think the plot is so slow. And okay,
Things
yes,
do happen slowly.
maybe it's purposeful, but the acting is so wooden and bad. And I think the dialogue is so bad. And again, I'm sure that that's like, oh, 1960s. It's kind of trying to do that and in a very campy way. But this is not my version of camp. And I feel like I don't know. I just think this movie really could have been so entertaining and so clever. And I think, again, what Anna Biller was trying to do is very clever. And I think she's semi-successful. But I just think the things that really affect this movie, again, the pacing, the acting, the dialogue, just so take away from it. And I get it. It's also a low film. Like, I think part of it is also budget and just like the passion project of it all. But it's almost disappointing just because I feel like this movie could be so much more and it could really just go sky high with what it wanted to be. And in my opinion, it kind of falls flat.
I'd agree with you on honestly most of what you're saying. I really did appreciate how stylized the whole thing was. Like I think that right now in film, we're really at a loss with films that are stylized. Like everything looks the same. Everything has that Netflix sheen. It all looks the same.
Olivia?
So I do appreciate something that is so heavily stylized. I have appreciation that someone is making that and that it exists.
I do too. I'm totally in agreement with you.
I think it's cool. I think every shot looks great. It does look like it's right out of the 60s.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that like rainbow effect.
yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
There's like this kaleidoscope rainbow effect that they have
when
in some
she's
shots.
doing like witchcraft stuff. Yeah.
It looks great. I enjoy the conceit of the film. I'm like you. I think I like it better in theory than I did actually watching it. It's very slow. I am of the opinion, like I would have to assume that all of the more wooden acting is on purpose, especially because I read that Anna Biller worked with Samantha Robinson for like a month before they started shooting to like get the performance exactly right. So I think it was on purpose. I don't think it was the right choice.
Okay, that is the perfect way to say it. Again, even if it was purposeful, it's so not for me.
She's been so upfront about the fact that this is basically like a feminist thesis. She said to The Guardian that the love witch is what would happen if men loved women as strongly as women want them to. the way women crave to be loved by men. While men are known for being less emotional than women, Biller says that in her experience, they're much more emotional. That's why they won't or can't open that gate. It would destroy them. And that's what kills all the men in my movie, having to experience their own feelings.
That's probably my favorite part of the movie. And also, I do really like what this movie, again, in my opinion, attempts to explore with, I love the idea of like witchcraft being tied to female sexuality, because that is such a strong staple in our history of witches. So I do like how this movie kind of turns it on its head, and how open the sexuality is, and how Elaine kind of uses it in the way that she does in this film.
Exactly. And how it's kind of presented as a critique, like the way that she uses her sexuality is like pretty overtly critiqued in the film, and kind of implied to have come from past sexual trauma.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting to me. Again, it really is just like the performances and the line delivery that holds this back, because I think it's such a visually stunning film. And like, she created the props herself, she tailored the clothing, and I'm like, I have to kind of admire someone who has such a specific vision, because it also is beautiful. And she's said that in her experience, glamour and beautiful things and beautiful sets and beautiful props are what she loves in films, and she notices a lot of women like that in films. So this film is like very explicitly made for women to enjoy, and that's why there's so many like beautiful clothes and beautiful sets and whatever. And I kind of liked that. I mean, I enjoy great set design, and I love that we're really allowed to luxuriate in it here.
Okay, this is the last thing I'll say about this. You can have an incredible idea for a film, and then the execution is just completely wrong and ruins the film. I don't think it ruins the film in The Love Witch. I think, Anna Biller was very purposeful with a lot of things she did. Again, does it work for me personally? No, that's okay. This movie's just not for me. It's for a lot of other people. People love this movie.
They do.
And I'm not discouraging people from watching it. However, watching this movie, I couldn't help but kind of like have a smile like on my face the entire time. And it reminds me, I just went to a film festival with my friend, and we were watching all the movies, and it was a very quick film festival, and there's so many different, like, some movies were super high budget, clearly, and they had really great cameras, and then some were made with like iPhones with like 3 people. But I told my friend, I was like, every single one of these films had passion behind it.
Yeah.
They were made by people who love film, who want to make films. Like, no one just phoned it in. And passionate filmmaking, like you said, it's so refreshing to see such a stylized film in the sea of like crappy, just like made for money projects.
Exactly. And listen, it's not even like half of those are bad. It's just I'm tired of seeing shot, reverse shot, medium, wide, close. Like, I want to see something interesting.
Right. And you're right with that same like Netflix glaze over it, like the boring cinematography. So again, this movie is not really for me personally, and that's okay. Like, I'm totally fine admitting when like I don't get a movie. Like, I'm not too proud honestly, to be like.
From our discussion today, it seems like you get it. It just like wasn't to your taste.
No,
which is
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah. So
today is a very like. I feel like film criticism especially has been very saturated with like take culture, where like you always have to have like a really hot take on something, or like a point that encapsulates the whole film that like you really want to make. And then there's also this, on the other hand, this weird thing about like, if you say anything negative or slightly critical about a film, you hate the film.
Exactly.
When it's like, no, something can just be okay, and that's fine.
Right. And in the case of The Love Witch, again, a very feminist movie, I feel like saying that it's not for me is saying it's not, I'm not for feminist films, or
that's insane.
Which is like, obviously it's not true. It's just, this personally just isn't the kind of movie I gravitate towards.
And listen, I actually typically don't enjoy like message movies. I've talked about that before. Like, I don't enjoy films that are like really
that feel like a PSA.
Same. And something I did appreciate about The Love Witch is that it's a very complex and interesting feminist film. Like, it doesn't just have one stale point. It's like truly an investigation of like the ways that women are sort of indoctrinated into behaving in certain ways and how some women embrace it and some don't, and how that's received differently by society. I find that interesting. So I actually didn't mind the message of the film because I thought it was truly an interesting exploration. Overall, though, mostly due to honestly the performances and some of the writing, like some of the dialogue, I'll probably give this one like a 5.56. It's that high for me just because I did really enjoy the visuals and I did enjoy the intent, but I probably wouldn't seek this one out again. But, you know, credit where credit's due.
Again, I get not the movie for me, but I can't help but admire Anna Biller for doing this project. Really, like, she is the champion of this movie, and the music's great. Yeah. I think there's so much that she brought to it that's amazing. I like the idea of it on paper, but a lot holds me back, and this just isn't the movie for me. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
Fair enough.
But obviously, again, check the movie out. Make an opinion for yourself.
Yeah, this is actually one that I would encourage people to form their own opinion about, just because there's a lot going on with it. And I'm glad that we watched it.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have watched it if we didn't watch it for this.
So our final movie, like we said earlier, is not The Witches of Eastwick. It is 2025 Weapons.
Yes. It is a horror film written and directed by Zach Kreger, who most people will know also wrote and directed Barbarian 2 or 3 years ago. Weapons received a wide theatrical release in August 2025 and was distributed by Warner Brothers. And it grossed $267 million worldwide against a $38 million budget. So I believe this film is in, as of right now, the top 20 highest grossing films of 2025. It did very well. Everyone's seen it. I feel like it is, at its core, Weapons is a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Like through and through, this movie was made to be enjoyed in a movie theater, like by a crowd of diverse people. Like, there's something for everyone here.
It's a little bit popcorn movie, but in a way that I like.
It's definitely popcorn movie.
I also, I am a hypocrite because I said I don't like when horror movies aren't scary, but I think it's such a crowd pleaser because it's personally really not that scary.
It's not. It's more of a thriller, honestly.
Yeah.
I think there are more thriller moments than there are like scary moments.
Totally. I'm actually in agreement with you. When I think of thriller, sometimes I think more mystery thriller. So I'm always kind of hesitant to use that word.
That's
but
fair.
You're right. So the film kicks off with voiceover narration from a child who explains that one morning at 2:17 in the morning in Maybrook, Pennsylvania, 17 children from the same class simultaneously got out of bed, walked out of their houses, and then ran into the darkness. I gotta say, really great opening.
It's a good opening. This voiceover narration from the child goes on way too long. So the film opens with this kind of mysterious thing that all of these children who are in the same class get up, walk out of their houses, and have gone missing.
Right. They're just gone.
And the film picks up like this having already happened. And it's explained through the voiceover. The voiceover does a little bit of over-explaining, in my opinion.
I feel like it's a really heavy crutch.
Yeah, and she's like, some of them were even caught on camera because some of the families had Ring cameras, and it's like, okay.
Also, there are children in this film who are like genuine characters and play an important role in this movie, and none of them are the narrator. So it's like, who is this child?
We never know. We never find out.
I think it's supposed to be creepier that it's a little kid's voice.
It's like this disembodied child's voice.
Yeah, but in my opinion, I think it's a little lazy.
Agreed. So their teacher, Justine Gandy, so the teacher of like all the kids in this one class, she's played by Julia Garner, arrived at school the next morning to find the entire classroom empty because all the kids have disappeared, except for one student, a boy named Alex Lilly.
Yes. So the first chapter, the film is told in different chapters.
Yeah. It's, I believe, a Pulp Fiction inspired sort of non-linear storytelling. My one comment about this, I'm not going to harp too much on it. The thing that made Pulp Fiction really good is that you discover a lot of things by seeing situations from different perspectives. And in here, Zach Kreger kind of tries to do the same thing. Like, we see the same situation from multiple different perspectives. Typically when that happens, it's kind of rare that we learn anything new from the new perspective. So a lot of times what this structure amounted to for me, especially on a second watch, because I had seen it before when it came out in theaters and then watched it again for this, I did get a little annoyed with how clever the structure thought itself to be.
It's funny. I
like a nonlinear narrative. I just think that this one was a little pleased with itself about its own cleverness.
It's funny. I actually really like how the story reveals itself. However, I kind of agree with you where some plot points go on a little too long and harp a little bit on stuff we've already seen. And it's like, we didn't really need to see that part. I would have preferred if we were learning new information from a different perspective, or even learning more about the characters. I feel like
single character in this film, to me, feels very underdeveloped.
A little one-dimensional.
And it's because there's so many different characters. And then each of them gets a chapter, and then we'll follow them for a little bit. And some chapters are shorter than others, and some are quite long. Justine's chapter, which opens the film, is like the first half hour of the film. So we probably get the most time with her.
And I think she's the most developed character.
Definitely. But then after that half hour, we like don't see her for a while. Yeah. And then we follow other characters, and it's kind of like, wait, what happened to her? What's going on with her? And I felt that way about multiple characters in the film, and it just kind of amounts to like, I felt like I didn't really get to know any of them by the time the film was over.
Agree, but only like 10%.
Okay, fine.
So
Maggie likes this movie more than me.
I do. So again, film is told in chapters, and the first chapter is Justine's, and we follow Justine Gandy. Much of the town's suspicion about the missing children is falling on her. Obviously, I mean, she's the teacher of the class that went missing.
Yeah.
The school principal, Marcus Miller, who's played by Benedict Wong, which I think he does a pretty good job.
I actually really enjoyed him in this. I think he's very funny.
He places her on a leave due to the backlash from parents. Very depressed, Justine relapses into heavy drinking and has a one-night stand with her ex-boyfriend, who is a married police officer, and his name is Paul Morgan. He's played by Alden Ehrenreich. I think that's how you say his name. I really like him as an actor.
I do too. He's one of those guys that you'll see every once in a while, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, you.
Yeah, he kind of just pops up everywhere.
And he's good, I feel like, consistently. Like, I always think he's good. Hoping to speak with Alex's parents, Justine goes to his house. And again, Justine hasn't been allowed to speak to Alex since all the kids ran away, just because the investigation is still ongoing.
And keep in mind, Alex has already been talked to by the police, and they've kind of cleared him of any suspicious activity. So he's just going to school like normal.
Yeah. And Justine, just because all this suspicion is wrongly placed on her, is like, she just wants to talk to Alex to see, like, why did you come to class that day?
Right. What does he know?
Exactly. And like, why are you different?
Right.
So she shows up to his house and no one answers the door. She notices that the windows are covered, and she sneaks around to the back of the house. She manages to get like a glimpse into the living room, and she sees two people sitting in the dark, just sitting still on the couch. And it's eerie.
It is. It's a good, there's a lot of jump scares in this movie. Some I think are a little bit more cheaply designed, and some I think
more effective than others.
Yeah, I thought this was a creepy, because it's not right in your face, but it is one of those things where you're like, it's still creepy after the jump.
Agreed. And in my personal opinion, the beginning of this film is the strongest point. I really like the what the hell is going on?
So back to the plot. Justine decides to stake out the house one night, but ends up falling asleep in her car. She's also been drinking. And while she's sleeping, Alex's mother enters Justine's car and cuts off a lock of her hair. This is the first scene that you go, oh my God.
No, this scene was scary.
It's so good.
Because you see out the window of the car, you see the door to the house open. And they do a great job in this film. Whenever the door to Alex's house opens, it's just like blackness in the door frame. And this woman who's holding scissors just emerges and walks up to the car. It's scary. It's a scary
moment. Genuinely really scary. Yeah. Especially when you hear the car door open, you're like, holy fuck, she's inside.
No, I swear. I think when I first saw that, I gasped.
Yeah, I think I did too.
It's great. So then, right after she cuts off a piece of Justine's hair, we immediately cut to the second chapter of the film. And in this chapter, we follow Archer Graff, who's played by Josh Brolin. And he's the father of one of the missing kids and kind of the parent who's leading the charge against Justine. I mean, his whole thing is just like, why your class? Like, what did you say? Like, what are you doing with these kids that they all ran away? Which honestly, I get it. He's also grieving. He like needs he needs a road to start going down to try to find a son.
I think he's kind of totally justified. He says in this opening scene when we're in his chapter, he's like, none of us parents ever heard anything at home. So clearly it's nothing at home.
Yeah.
And they're all from her classroom and you guys aren't even taking a look into it. Like, what is that about? I mean, honestly, like it's not that far off from like a pretty solid theory.
So Archer decides to look into the case himself, and by kind of like he looks at ring cam footage from his own house and then different families, and he draws on maps and stuff.
He's a contractor, so he has like a map of the city.
Yes. And he determines that all of the kids, like if they continued all running in the direction that they were running, they would all kind of converge at one point in the neighborhood.
Which I have to ask, like how, I guess the police could have figured that out.
No, but like how has no one figured that out?
Yeah.
You would assume the police would have taken the ring cam footage from every house.
Oh, without going into it too far, the police are kind of excused in this movie for subsequent reasons that we'll get into later. But it is one of those things where it's like, damn, that took 2 seconds for him to figure out.
It takes him like a few hours.
Yeah.
Like the police have apparently been investigating this for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So from here, the film really diverges into multiple parallel plot threads, and the chapters get shorter and more nonlinear. Like we jump back and forth a bit, bunch of characters, we see their perspectives. This is, again, where the film starts to get a little overstuffed for me.
Yeah, I feel like it's not so much that I mind all the different perspectives, because I am opposed to you, where I actually kind of like how the story unfolds. It's more so I feel like we harp a little bit too long on certain characters that I think could have been cut down.
There are 2 characters that I'm like, you genuinely could have cut them entirely and just come up with a more creative way to get to show some of the reveals in the film. Like there are multiple characters that I'm like, you straight up just didn't need to be in the movie.
See, interesting, because I think it's fun how all these characters are in the movie. Like it's entertaining how it unfolds.
Fair enough.
But again, I think I'm kind of more like, yeah, it could have been short-end.
Yeah.
So we see that on the day that he hooked up with Justine, her ex-boyfriend Paul, so Paul's a police officer, arrested a vagrant drug addict named James, who's played by Austin Abrams, who I kind of love. He was
really good in this.
Yeah, he's like an up-and-coming actor. When Paul pricks himself on a syringe while searching James, he punches him, and then, afraid because he just assaulted this guy who he was arresting, Paul then lets James go, kind of under the promise of like, you don't show your face around here and I'll like kind of just, we'll forget this whole incident.
So following the assault, James burglarizes Alex's house, believing it to be abandoned, and he discovers all of the missing children in the basement of Alex Lilly's house, just standing around in like a catatonic state, essentially.
Yes, very similar to the 2 people we saw on the couch earlier in the movie.
Yes. He attempts to report his findings to the police, but he shows up to the station, and Paul, who had told him like leave town now, Paul like sees this part. Actually was very
it's
funny.
Like perfect, like it's like divine intervention. Like he's walking up to the police station and Paul is the cop who walks out at that same moment.
He sees him and he's just like,
oh, like he's also not having a good day.
No. So Paul chases him off before he can even enter the police station, and James runs into the woods and sees a mysterious older woman just out in this field who waves at him eerily.
I have to know,
it is an eerie visual.
We have seen this woman in Archer's perspective, and in Justine's perspective. She's this nightmare clown looking woman who kind of appears almost like when they're sleeping. So it's kind of like this nightmare image that just appears for 2 seconds and it's gone.
Yeah. When Paul catches up to James, James reveals to Paul, like, listen, hey, I literally just came in to say that I have found the missing kids. Mm-hmm. Paul is like a little doubtful, but he's like, okay. So they drive together to Alex's house, and Paul leaves James in the car while he goes in to investigate. So he enters the house and doesn't come out for hours. And then hours later, he emerges and just drags James into the house.
This is creepy too.
Yeah.
How he like barrels towards him. So back at the school, Marcus, this is again Benedict Wong, who's the principal, meets with Alex's Aunt Gladys, who we recognize as this nightmare woman that James saw in the woods and that we've also seen in Justine and Archer's perspectives. She's
amazing.
She is outrageous, and I love her. She has this orange bob with baby bangs, and she wears like pantsuits and like tracksuits that are like super vibrant and
like this smeared lipstick.
I have to say, Amy Madigan, who plays Aunt Gladys, her performance is easily the best one.
It's the highlight of the film.
Oh my God, she is so good. And I know
Yes.
this movie won't get nominated for any like Golden Globes or anything.
No, but she like deserves that supporting actress.
this is
nom.
like, yeah, this is like
She was
the
so
performance
good.
of a lifetime.
Yeah, and also if you hadn't kind of figured it out by now, she is our witch.
Yes. There's a lot of moments that kind of point towards it that I appreciate in the movie. So like Justine's car has graffiti that they call her a witch.
She claims that she's the victim of a witch hunt, which
Yes.
she kind of is.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that kind of foreshadow because we don't know what this threat is. We don't know what took the kids, what's going on in the town. So I like that it's very cleverly foreshadowing what
Yeah.
our threat in the movie is. So Gladys claims that she has become the family's caretaker after Alex's parents have mysteriously gotten sick. The next day, Gladys actually shows up at Marcus's house and performs a ritual with a lock of Justine's hair, which turns Marcus into a drone intent on finding and killing Justine.
Yeah, so we see that this is also probably what happened to Paul. This is like some sort of a spell that she can cast to make people weapons who will basically commit murder or attack other people at her whim.
Yeah, do any of her bidding.
Exactly. There is also my favorite reveal of the film, and a detail that I so enjoyed that it was in the film, is that Benedict Wong's character and his husband are Disney adults.
Yes, I kind of love them. I love them like grocery shopping, and then they have like that spread of like 8 hot dogs and like chips, and it's a very, he ends up killing his husband under the spell.
Oh yeah,
sadly.
Gladys also makes him kill his husband because he's just like,
In the
well,
way.
I only need one guy to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just enjoyed the detail. It's not even really mentioned. It's just like we see like their t-shirts that they're Disney adults, and I'm just like, yeah, I actually that makes
checks.
this character so much more well-rounded to me.
Totally.
So Marcus tries to attack Justine at a gas station, but he's fatally struck by a car while chasing her. And Archer, who happened to be at the gas station and witnessed the attack, tells Justine that he discovered the children were likely all running toward Alex Lilly's house.
This is a really great scene, in my opinion.
I agree. And this is also the moment where Archer realizes, like, okay, this isn't her.
Right. Something larger.
Is at play. He also recognized that the way that Benedict Wong runs is just like how the kids ran, which is like his arms kind of behind him, and like he picks up on that and is like, wait, there's something much larger at play than like this teacher.
Anyone who watches anime, they're doing a Naruto run.
Yes.
Yeah. Also,
I wonder if that was on purpose.
the intent. Yeah, there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of like hidden meanings and stuff. And I'll get into it later at the end of the movie. But the way that the people run in this movie is kind of like debated on what it means. In my opinion, I think it's more just kind of like creepy running.
Yeah.
Like, also, I have to say it now because this scene really highlights it. This cinematography is so unique. I feel like we're on a roller coaster. The camera moves so fast.
Yeah.
It is like they had so many dolly shots, and it's, I mean, sometimes I really like it, and sometimes I'm like, I'm getting whiplash. Also, if anyone, please in the comments can tell me what is the symbolism but for the back of the head shots. It's everywhere. It's 95% of the people in this movie.
Yeah. I love a back of the head shot. I would assume it's just like a preference.
Maybe I just have to know because it's such a principal factor in the cinematography. I have to know if there's any like theories on a hidden meaning. In a flashback, we learn that Gladys is a witch who has enchanted Alex's parents and is siphoning their life force. She's forced Alex to continue life as normal under the threat that she'll kill his parents if he mentions that she is there. And then Gladys makes Alex collect his classmates' name tags, or she says a personal belonging, and he takes the name tags, which she then uses to enchant the children and abduct them. And she is kind of taking their life. Or she explains to Alex that she's very sick and that she needs his help. So Alex is clearly, he knows she's no good from the second she walks into the house.
Yeah.
But there's literally nothing he can do. And now there's the threat of his parents' life in his hands.
I think Gladys is like a great antagonist. She is really sort of, we're back to now like the monstrous evil witch. Like this is a classic witch portrayal. This is not like a reimagined feminist version of a witch. This is the monstrous old lady who hates children and like eats their souls, which listen, a witch who eats children is like one of my favorite witch tropes.
That's going to be Olivia in like 50 years.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait to eat children.
I will say I like this is the movie out of the 3 we picked where the most witchcraft is shown, like her actually practicing witchcraft.
Yeah. So Gladys is like a ceremonial witch. She casts ceremonial spells. Like she has this little stick thing. She uses blood and hair and personal belongings to cast spells on people, which is kind of hoodoo associated, Wicca associated. Yeah, I think she's a great villain. I do wish we knew literally anything about her.
Oh, really? I kind of like that she's just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Is she sick? What is her sickness? What is, we actually never really see her siphoning life force from the children. Like, what exactly does she want the children for? Because then later it's like kind of implied that she wants to use them as weapons, like hence the movie title. But like, against whom?
I think she is genuinely sick. I kind of take it as like she has been around much longer than most humans are.
But I would have liked to have had that implied in any way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little line or a scene or something. All we see is like her like kind of looking more sickly. There's kind of a theory that when she's at her more powerful, that's when she like has the really big makeup and she's really lively. And then when she's like really weak is when we see her like without her wig and kind of stripped down. I kind of just cast that opinion aside.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of do what you will with it.
I think she is a functionally scary antagonist, really backed up by great costume design and makeup, and then also Amy Madigan's great performance. Like she is chewing the scenery. Like
she is eating up every minute of screen time,
having a time of her life, which like as you would with this role, like that's the only way to play this role.
No, yeah.
I wish we knew anything about her other than just like scary old lady witch, which is essentially like the extent of her character. So back in the present, Justine and Archer break into the Lily house and are attacked by Paul and James, who are now both like under Gladys's control, similar to how Marcus was. Like they're just blindly like, I have to kill you.
They're weaponized.
They're weapons.
Ooh, that's the name of the movie.
Justine kills both of them in self-defense.
Alex, who is hiding upstairs, uses a strand, and also Alex's parents are now weaponized against him, so they're trying to kill him. He uses a strand of Gladys's hair to replicate her spell and turn the children against her. I actually really loved this.
Great. Yeah, me too.
Because it would have been so unrealistic if Justine or Archer were the ones to defeat her, because they're so like in the dark about what's even happening still.
And Alex has watched her
he's been
do
witness.
This spell. Yeah.
Keep in mind, Gladys has been at the house for like a month before the children go missing. So she's been at this house for like 2 months now. And so Alex has been witness to her behavior every single day. So I like that he is the one to take her down.
Same. And also just like like you said, he's the one that deserves to take her down.
Yes.
Like the scariest moments of the film are when you're put in Alex's shoes.
That's why it's my favorite perspective.
Yeah. Of when you're the helpless kid whose parents have been turned into zombies and you're just at the mercy of this woman. Like,
well, I actually have a very strong theory about this movie that I'll get into after, and it has a lot to do with Alex. So The children are now weaponized against Gladys. They run up from the basement and chase her through the neighborhood. This scene is very funny. And
This was funny.
I find it very successfully funny.
Same.
Before they brutally dismember her. I mean, they rip her limb from limb.
Like they actually just tear her limbs off. And a voiceover reveals that Alex moved out of town to stay with a different, kinder aunt, which I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was sweet. And added to the more kind of gleeful, dark ending to the film.
I mean, again, you just feel so bad for Alex. Yeah. So the fact that he
another
has a
great
happy
kid actor
ending,
in one of these films.
Such a great kid actor.
He really sold it. And his parents, again, Gladys is dead now, and these people that she's basically zombified, like, they're zombified now.
Yeah, I mean,
which
again,
I loved that.
I did too.
And we learn that his parents get institutionalized and that all of the missing children returned home, but they're all zombies. And then the film ends with the voiceover saying, some of them have even learned to speak again.
Yeah, some of them even started talking this year. And you're like, ooh, how long has it been since you're like... This year, it's like, well, how many years has it been since this incident happened?
Which, like, I found that little note with the voiceover at the end, I did find very successfully eerie of like, oh,
yeah,
like, so they're just all like vegetables. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
I like that too, because I feel like it, not like it would have been unrealistic, because obviously there's nothing about this movie that's realistic, but I think it's much better and much more realistic to the world that we've come to understand that. Yeah, Gladys has been sucking the life from these people for some months and a few weeks. Mm-hmm. So yeah, of course they're not going to be like completely normal. Otherwise it's like, well, what the hell is her power? Mm-hmm. Is she even that powerful?
But I guess that's the thing. I would have really liked some details on like what her power actually was. I do have to note, I find it odd that in both of Zach Cregger's horror movies, the most horrifying villain that he can come up with is just an old woman. At least in this film, Gladys's scariness is like curated with kind of like her clowny makeup and her hair and her vibe. Mm-hmm. And it's not just like in his last film, Barbarian, the monster is literally just a naked old woman who's just made abject in the film.
A little bit of a devil's advocate, she is like very monstrous after years of, I think it's inbreeding. But I see the point you're making, and I am in agreement.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of, this is more of just a general note in horror movies. I'm sick of being forced to just find naked old women scary.
Yeah.
And listen, the only movie that I will let slide is The Substance, because it was done purposefully. Like,
well, it's a commentary.
The movie is about women's bodies.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like The Shining, that scene with the old lady in the bathroom. It's like, haha, joke's on you. She's old and
terrifying.
Ugly.
Just an old woman. Like, I don't know. I'd
like to see an old naked man. That is horrifying. I mean, what's that scary?
I'm just like, I feel like in horror, it comes up. Any horror fan really will recognize that, like,
I can.
I mean, the otherization of like old female bodies and like how that's framed as like a scary thing. Like literally, like, like the scene in The Shining. It's an old naked woman. Oh, disgusting. Like I actually I am insulted by that.
Yeah, no, you could write a whole thesis on like how fucked up this trope in horror is. And you're right. It is so apparent. Like, I could probably write a book with all the movies it comes up in.
Is it just like an aged female body, like truly the scariest thing you can think of, Zach Cregger? Like, I can think of scarier things.
He needs to go to therapy. He has some things he needs to work out.
Apparently, which is kind of interesting, when he started writing the film, his original conceit behind the film was like, okay, you know, something's wrong in suburbia. Like something's amiss in suburbia. Like the kids have gone missing. And he only came up with the witch villain like after writing the first few parts of it.
I gotta tell you, the first time I saw this movie, I wanted to go in as blind as possible because everyone was talking about it, and I was like, okay, I do not want to know any spoilers. And I gotta say, the whole movie was like, is it like a demon? Is it like a serial killer? What is it? And I was not expecting witch. So I think the movie does a really good job, again, foreshadowing, but diverting expectations. Like, it's not so obvious because we don't really see any witchcraft until Gladys enters the film.
Exactly. And I will say, once you see her cast that spell on Marcus, on Benedict Wong's character, it makes everything come together.
Yes.
Like, when you see her, like
tie
tying his
the hair,
and then she snaps this twig, and then he turns into a drone, it's like,
oh,
got it.
Yeah.
Got it, movie. But overall, like, again, I'm like, it was fine. Like, it was a fine movie. You had something to say.
One thing I want to talk about in this movie is there are so many theories.
Yeah.
As to what this film is really about. I don't think the film is a very metaphorical film per se. However, I love like when movies are talked about like this. I you know, whether it be based on something or not, or if it's just more so people just kind of speculating. I always think it's fun. I love when a movie gets you talking.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
So a lot of people think this movie is about school shootings. That
It's
is like,
not.
I personally don't think it is.
Also, like, literally, where would you get that connection other than there's a scene where Archer has a nightmare and he, like, imagines, like, a gun floating in the sky? That's it. Like, I feel like that's the only real reason. Because everything else in the film, like...
I mean, there's the thing that it's like, oh, these children are missing and the parents are mourning and, you know...
But again, it's like they're missing, and the whole thing that's constantly harped on is like, where are they?
Also, there's that whole thing about the time 217, which is like a theory with like the vote again for gun control in the country. That's like a whole thing. You can look into it. I personally just think it's like random time.
That just all seems like a bit of a reach to me. I don't think it's a school shooting movie.
I personally don't either. I don't a reach. I think it's like an interesting theory, but I'm pretty sure the director has literally gone out and been like, no, that's not what the movie's about. But you know what? Like, it's an interesting take to have, especially in a 21st century mindset.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think Zach Krieger has gone on record of saying that this movie, specifically Alex's POV, is more about like dealing. I don't know if he said his parents had a problem with it. And if I'm misquoting, I'm sorry. Maybe people in the comments can correct me. But it's something about like dealing with parents with alcoholism.
I could see that. That I could see.
However, watching this movie, especially for a second time in a row, maybe I saw this online somewhere and it's just buried in my subconscious. So if I'm stealing this, I'm sorry. Whoever originally had this idea, credit them. But I, as far as I know, it's the first I'm hearing of it. I think this movie is about child abuse.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think especially when Alex, his POV comes into question, because a big part of this movie is that Justine Gandy is kind of this like unconventional teacher. She's been fired from her last school because she gets a little too close to her children in ways that are harmless but not approved by administration.
Yeah.
So like, for example,
they mentioned that she drove
a kid home
one time, which like
you're not allowed to do.
You could see how as maybe a young teacher, like, and this kid who no one's picking them up.
Yeah, she's like,
be like, you know what, get in the car, it's fine, because she knows she's harmless.
Yeah.
But you don't do that.
No, yeah. I mean, I work in a school and that is like a huge no. But again,
no,
it's
and
like,
agreed.
It's
and if I ever
harmless.
heard that like, oh, a teacher's like driving kids home, it would be like,
Yeah. It's obviously not allowed. And then again, she's like talking to Alex and she's like, you can tell me anything. And so she's clearly a little bit nosy. She pushes too hard. When we get to Alex's POV, Gladys tells him, if you tell anyone what's happening in this house or tell anyone that I am here, you know, I will hurt your parents. She's threatening the child to keep a secret of what's going on at home. Alex goes to school every day with this burden. He's clearly very affected by it. He's also a kid who's kind of socially an outcast, who is usually a target for a quiet kid who's usually a target for, you know, child abuse. Gladys is able to manipulate the police and manipulate the home life to make it seem like a very healthy, safe environment. So police just kind of overlook it. And the administration really overlooks it. And that is a huge thing that happens in schools. Oftentimes, like kids, you know, there are very clear signs that teachers will pick up on, like in the movie Justine picks up on. She's like, something is wrong with Alex. We need to go and push further. And a lot of times administration, like Benedict Wong's character, will be like, it's going to be a huge thing. Let's not get involved. You know, We can't really do that. And so it gets overlooked. And I think Justine pushing so hard and going to Alex's house and refusing to give up is what ultimately saves him. Personally, I find it to be somewhat of an allegory for child abuse.
Agreed. And I mean, honestly, allegory is even stretching it. Alex is abused.
No, he is.
Like, Gladys comes into his home and abuses him. Just one thing I really wanted to say about this film is that, especially the second time watching it, it does feel, in a good way, like complimentary, like a Stephen King novel.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a really, really good comparison.
It's so Stephen King.
It is.
And Stephen King loves an outcast. Stephen King loves a child left to their own devices and like victimized, but ultimately comes out kind of a hero. And also the suburbia of it, the
supernatural suburbia.
Small town that's interrupted by something supernatural is very Stephen King. Even just like kind of Stephen King loves, and I mean for, I would assume, personal reasons, if you know anything about Stephen King, he loves like an alcoholic protagonist, and like Justine clearly struggles with alcohol. He loves kind of an imperfect, but not so imperfect that they're not a hero. Like, again, like sleeps with her married ex-boyfriend and drinks too much.
Very
like
flawed main character.
That is such a Stephen King protagonist. I enjoyed the film. I feel like I'm making it sound like I didn't enjoy the film.
No,
it's
I know you did.
a very enjoyable film, and I liked it. It's just probably like, for me personally, I tend to gravitate towards, I guess, like artsier stuff. Like,
no, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's the same way like you kind of prefer a movie like The Witch, where I
Love
kind of
The
prefer
Witch.
something like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like The Witch, every time I watch it, like it gets better and better in my mind, where like this one, I can only see it getting worse on repeat watches. For me, I'm gonna give Weapons like it's kind of a little on par with The Love Witch for me, a bit better in my mind. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10.
Again, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I'm like, I don't like when horror movies aren't scary, but I kind of enjoy that this movie is scary at times, but also can kind of like appeal. Like, I watched this movie with two friends who do not watch horror movies at all, and they actually really liked it.
That, I feel like this is a great intro to horror kind of film. Like,
Yes.
this is a horror movie for the masses.
So I enjoy that aspect of it.
This film, like Barbarian, went over so well. There was like a bidding war for Weapons between different studios. And I mean, it made so much money. Clearly they had the right idea.
I'm pretty sure someone at Jordan Peele's
at Monkey Paw?
yeah, got fired because they didn't get the rights to this movie.
And
someone
someone
fact checked me on that.
And I'm pretty sure Monkey Paw produced Barbarian as well.
Yeah, so I think maybe there's tea with it.
That is tea.
I'm kind of
Oh
like
my God.
trying to
and
remember.
Monkey Paw was stuck with him for this season.
We'll talk about that later. We have an episode.
Coming up where we'll talk about him.
But I really like Weapons. I'm going to give it an 8.5. On another watch, it could go up, it could go down. I don't know, but I probably won't watch it for a while because I know that it's not just going to hit as hard.
That's fine. For our viewers, I want to remind you, if you haven't watched one of our episodes, so Weapons gets an 8.5, Taxi Driver a 6.
I can see you're hurt.
That hurt me deeply.
Well, look, I'm not here to please the masses. I
true to
speak
yourself.
I speak my truth. Okay.
Even if that truth is frankly insane.
Yeah, I mean, all the film bros I went to college with are probably punching their computer screens right now. Sorry. I have to say, in each episode, I don't know if you're the same, but I am so unique. Like, there's no like standard scale.
I have a scale.
Oh, see, I don't. It's just kind of like what I'm feeling when I watch the movie on that particular watch for the podcast.
Know. I can tell.
Olivia's so mad at me, you guys.
When I have such a systemized scale for like how I rate movies in my head of like, even if, you know what, I didn't enjoy it as much, I have to think about the technical aspects. I have to think about like the intention. I have to think about like the performances.
No, not me.
You're all vibe.
I am like.
So for our viewers, please know that my ratings are really carefully considered, and Maggie's aren't.
Excuse you. I would like to say they're so carefully considered. I just don't have like, every movie doesn't have like the same scale it starts with. It's more so kind of like, okay, what am I feeling in this particular sitting?
Interesting.
But I mean, it's not like I watched a movie and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to throw the cinematography and the technical aspects and everything out the window. Olivia's just butthurt because I gave Taxi Driver a bad rating, you guys.
And you also gave A Clockwork Orange a bad rating.
Okay, to be fair, Stanley Kubrick and I have a very complex relationship. Him and I have had years of
You
back
don't
and
always
forth.
get along. That's okay.
We've had years of a very unique dynamic.
It's a will they, won't they.
Exactly. Enemies to lovers, back to enemies. Like, so I can't, like, I have to stay true to my heart on that one.
I'm crying.
I know.
All
Oh,
right.
God.
Well, those are our thoughts on witch movies. We know we got a little off track, but c'est la vie. That is the nature of our podcast.
Exactly.
We hope you enjoyed, and we hope that you will return next week to watch Gangsters on film. We will be covering gangster movies. We're watching Goodfellas, In Bruges, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes.
We are not covering The Godfather. Unfortunately, we just didn't want to. Also, we're scared that we wouldn't have the correct opinions about The Godfather. So we hope that you watch along with us, and then we will catch up in 2 weeks because we have a little gap week in between the next, and we will see you then.
I'm Maggie.
I'm Olivia.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
And subscribe and like, please.